Have you ever wondered why some people seem untouchable, completely at peace, fully alive, almost as if they exist outside of time, while others live in constant stress, aging faster, struggling through life, feeling disconnected from something they can't quite name? The difference isn't luck, it isn't genetics, it isn't even intelligence. It's something much deeper, something so fundamental that it's happening right now in this very moment inside of you. Breath, not just the air moving in and out of your lungs, not just the automatic function keeping you alive. Breath is something far more powerful. It is the bridge between the physical and the unseen, the key to unlocking awareness beyond the mind, the force that connects you to the rhythm of the universe itself. Every great spiritual tradition, every ancient wisdom teaching has whispered the same secret. Control your breath, and you control reality itself. But here's what they don't want you to know. Right now, most people are breathing themselves into suffering. Every shallow inhale, every unconscious gasp, every erratic breath is feeding stress, anxiety, and disconnection. The way you breathe determines how long you live, how deeply you think, how clearly you perceive the world. It affects your emotions, your energy, your ability to heal, and yet no one ever taught you how to do it correctly. This knowledge was once sacred. It was passed down through hidden lineages, practiced in monasteries, protected by mystics and sages who understood its true power. But today it has been buried under noise, lost in a world that keeps you distracted, disconnected from your own body, and if you don't reclaim it, you will continue to live at a fraction of your potential, trapped in stress, lost in mental chatter, aging faster than you need to. But if you do, everything changes. Once you understand the power of breath, you don't just live, you transcend. Breath is the first thing you do when you enter this world and the last thing you do before you leave it. Everything in between, every thought, every experience, every emotion, happens within the space created by your breath. And yet, it is the most overlooked, the most misunderstood force in existence. We breathe 700 to 300 times per day, but most people do it unconsciously, mechanically, without any awareness. Ancient wisdom tells us that breath is not just air, it is life force. The Hindus call it prana, the Chinese call it chi, the Greeks called it pneuma, and in the Bible it is the breath of life. Every civilization that reached profound levels of self-awareness understood the same fundamental truth. To master the breath is to master existence itself. But look at how modern people breathe. Shallow, rushed, chaotic, breath that never reaches the depths of the lungs, never nourishes the body, never stills the mind. This isn't just bad breathing. This is a crisis of consciousness. Because when breath is shallow, the mind is restless. When the breath is erratic, thoughts become chaotic. When breath is weak, so is life. Science now confirms what ancient mystics knew thousands of years ago. The way you breathe determines the signals your brain receives. Rapid, shallow breathing tells the brain to panic, to stay in fight or flight mode, constantly releasing stress hormones, keeping you anxious, exhausted, and reactive. Slow, deep breathing does the opposite. It signals safety, activates the parasympathetic nervous system, releases tension, and shifts the body into a state of repair and regeneration. But this goes even deeper. Studies show that breath controls brainwaves, shifting consciousness itself. When you breathe deeply and rhythmically, your brain slows down into alpha and theta states, the frequencies linked to deep meditation, creativity, and heightened intuition. This is why breathwork is used by monks, shamans, and mystics. It is the fastest way to silence the mind, break through illusions, and access the states that most people only experience in fleeting moments. But here's where it gets even more profound. Breath does not just affect your mind, it affects your lifespan. The longest living creatures on Earth, from tortoises to whales, all have something in common. They breathe slowly. The faster the breath, the shorter the life. This is not superstition, this is a biological law. Your breath controls your oxygen efficiency, your cellular aging, your heart rate variability, all of which determine how long and how well you live. Yet, in modern society, people breathe like they are racing toward the end, rushed, shallow, unconscious. And as a result, their bodies deteriorate faster, their minds remain clouded, their emotions stay unstable. But what happens when you take control? The great yogis and spiritual masters who lived far beyond 100 years didn't have access to advanced medicine or technology, but they had one thing modern people lack: breath mastery. They knew that by controlling the breath, they could control their aging process, their mental clarity, their spiritual awareness. They didn't just live longer, they transcended the limitations of ordinary life itself. And this is not just philosophy. The science backs it up. Studies have shown that controlled breath work can regrow brain cells, reverse stress damage, increase focus, and even activate dormant areas of the brain. The implications are staggering. It means that breath is not just sustaining you, it is shaping your reality in ways you never imagined. But most people will never realize this. They will continue to breathe unconsciously, never experiencing the power hidden within something so simple. And that is why breathwork has remained a secret of the mystics, the warriors, the enlightened ones. Because to control breath is to control the mind, and to control the mind is to unlock the door to everything beyond it. This is where the real journey begins. Because once you start breathing with awareness, once you start using breath as a tool instead of taking it for granted, you will notice something profound. The way you experience reality shifts. Your emotions become lighter, your stress dissolves faster, your ability to think clearly and feel deeply expands. And as you go deeper, you begin to see the hidden connection. The universe itself breathes. Every star, every galaxy, every cycle of existence moves in expansion and contraction, the inhale and exhale of cosmic intelligence. This is why the ancient texts say, "As above, so below." Your breath is not separate from the universe, it is a microcosm of it. This is why breath is the fastest way to enter deep meditation, because when you align your breath with the rhythm of the cosmos, you step beyond time, beyond mind, beyond the illusion of separateness. Most people will never do this. They will continue breathing without awareness, aging faster than they need to, living in a constant state of stress and reactivity. But those who understand, those who commit to mastering their breath, will discover something that cannot be taught, only experienced. Once you understand the power of breath, you don't just live, you transcend. Breath is the oldest wisdom in existence, yet it is the most forgotten. Long before written language, long before religions and philosophies, humans understood that breath was not just a function of the body, it was a force of life itself. Ancient civilizations knew this truth. They didn't see breath as just oxygen. They called it prana, chi, ruach, spiritus, all different names for the same thing, the energy that animates all existence. But as humanity advanced, as technology replaced intuition, as distractions multiplied, something tragic happened. People stopped breathing with awareness. They forgot the connection between breath and consciousness. They lost their lifeline to the infinite. Look at the modern world. People walk around in a constant state of stress, trapped in their thoughts, disconnected from their own bodies. And yet, the cure has always been with them, right under their nose, quite literally. Breath is the first thing stolen by stress. When you are afraid, when you are overwhelmed, what happens? Your breath becomes shallow, erratic, restricted. It locks you in a state of survival. And when this becomes your daily pattern, you don't just feel stressed, you become stress. But here's what they don't tell you. This is not just a mental issue, this is a physical prison. When you breathe shallowly, your body receives less oxygen, less energy, less life force. Your cells begin to decay faster. Your brain functions at a lower capacity. Your emotions spiral out of control. It's no coincidence that anxiety, depression, and brain fog have skyrocketed in modern times. The human species as a whole has forgotten how to breathe. The breath was never meant to be shallow. It was meant to be deep, rhythmic, expansive. It was meant to nourish the body and awaken the mind. And ancient cultures knew this. In Hinduism, the breath was a sacred bridge to the divine. The word Atman meant both soul and breath, because they were one and the same. In Taoism, breath was qi, the cosmic force that flows through all things. To control the breath was to control energy itself. In Christianity, the word spirit comes from the Latin spiritus, which literally means breath. The divine was never separate. It was in every inhale, every exhale, every moment of stillness. Indigenous cultures understood this as well. Many Native American tribes practiced breath rituals to align themselves with the Earth's natural rhythms. They knew that breath was the key to balance, harmony, and vitality. So what happened? How did humanity lose this wisdom? The truth is, it was never truly lost. It was hidden. As societies grew, as power structures formed, the ability to control breath, and therefore control one's own mind, body, and emotions, became something that only a select few were allowed to master. Mystics, monks, warriors, they were taught these secrets in temples and secluded places, while the rest of the world was conditioned to breathe unconsciously, to remain in a reactive state, unaware of the power they carried within. And today nothing has changed. The average person still breathes in a way that keeps them disempowered. Shallow breathing keeps them weak, anxious, and easily controlled. And yet, those who understand breath, who truly master it, they live on a completely different frequency. Think of the great yogis, the monks who live for over 100 years with no sign of disease. Think of the martial artists who use breath to harness unimaginable strength. Think of the deep-sea divers who hold their breath for minutes at a time, lowering their heart rates at will. This is not magic, this is biology. Because breath is not just something you do, it is who you are. And if you can control it, if you can return to the wisdom that was hidden from you, you will experience something profound. Your mind will quiet, your body will heal, your energy will rise, and for the first time you will understand what it means to truly be alive. But this is only the beginning, because breath is not just about peace or health or clarity, it is about something much deeper. Breath is the bridge between the seen and the unseen. It is the key that unlocks the hidden potential of the mind. The moment you slow your breath, the moment you extend your exhale and breathe deeply into your lower lungs, something incredible happens. Your body shifts into a state of deep presence. Your nervous system stops fighting itself. Your thoughts slow down. And suddenly, you feel something you may have forgotten existed. A profound, unshakable stillness. This is the doorway to transcendence. The reason great sages, monks, and seekers focus on the breath is because it is the fastest way to dissolve illusion. It pulls you out of the past and future and places you directly into the now. And in the now there is no fear, no anxiety, no limitation. There is only awareness. This is why breathwork can induce mystical experiences, why deep breathing can make you feel euphoric light, almost as if you're floating, because when you control the breath, you alter your brainwaves, shifting from ordinary thinking into deeper states of perception. And this is something modern science has only recently begun to understand. Neuroscientists have found that slow, rhythmic breathing activates the vagus nerve, signaling the body to relax, heal, and enter deep states of awareness. Studies have shown that controlled breathwork reduces stress hormones, strengthens immunity, and increases the brain's ability to adapt to new experiences. But this is something ancient traditions have always known. They didn't need brain scans or medical studies. They experienced it firsthand. And if you are willing to reclaim this knowledge, if you are willing to train your breath, you will unlock something that most people will never experience in their lifetime. Because once you control your breath, you are no longer a victim of your mind. You are no longer controlled by thoughts, by emotions, by the chaos of the world around you. You move differently. You think differently. You exist on a different frequency. And once you reach this level of mastery, you do not just live, you transcend. Breath is the foundation of consciousness. It is not just the fuel for your body. It is the key to unlocking the full spectrum of your awareness. If you control your breath, you can control your mind. If you can control your mind, you can shape your reality. Most people never realize this. They spend their lives breathing unconsciously, reacting to the world instead of creating it. But those who understand breath, who truly master it, enter a completely different state of existence. Every emotion you feel, every thought that arises, is tied to the rhythm of your breath. Think about it. When you are angry, your breath is short and sharp. When you are afraid, it becomes rapid and shallow. When you are at peace, your breath slows, deepens, expands. This is not a coincidence. This is a law of consciousness. Your breath is both a reflection of your mental state and a tool to change it. If you are anxious, you can shift into calm within minutes, simply by controlling your breath. If you are scattered, you can regain focus instantly, simply by slowing your inhale, lengthening your exhale. Ancient spiritual masters understood this long before modern science did. They knew that by working with breath they could enter deep states of meditation, awaken higher perception, and even extend their lifespan. But now, science is catching up. Studies on heart rate variability, brain wave activity, and nervous system function have proven that slow, controlled breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of you responsible for healing, relaxation, and mental clarity. Breath is the only function in the body that is both automatic and controllable. You don't have to think about breathing, it happens on its own. But the moment you do take control of it, you can override your stress responses, reprogram your brain, and shift your entire emotional state. This is why breath is the fastest way to access higher states of consciousness. When you regulate your breath, you shift your brainwaves. Instead of staying locked in beta, the fast, anxious state of ordinary thinking, you enter alpha and theta, the states linked to deep meditation, intuition, and expanded awareness. In these states, your mind slows, your perception sharpens, your connection to the present moment deepens, and if you go even further, if you master breath to its highest level, you can enter gamma states, where monks, shamans, and mystics report profound spiritual experiences. This is why breathwork is not just a relaxation technique. It is a portal to higher awareness. Throughout history, those who sought enlightenment always turned to breath. The yogis of India, the Taoist masters of China, the Zen monks of Japan, all of them practiced breath mastery as a gateway to deeper consciousness. Because when the breath is controlled, the ego dissolves, thoughts lose their grip, fear disappears, the constant mental noise fades away, and in that silence something else emerges, pure awareness. This is what the great sages spoke of when they talked about liberation. Liberation, freedom is not something outside of you. It is not something you find in the future. It is something that exists right now, in the space between each inhale and exhale. But most people will never access it. They will continue to breathe without awareness. They will stay locked in cycles of stress, reacting to thoughts that are not even their own, trapped in the illusion that life is happening to them rather than through them. But those who wake up, those who reclaim their breath, begin to experience something incredible. They realize that breath is the only thing that exists in the present moment. You cannot breathe in the past, you cannot breathe in the future, you can only breathe now. And if you can learn to stay with your breath, to become one with it, you will enter a state beyond the mind. This is the secret that has been hidden in plain sight. It is why monks sit in meditation for hours, doing nothing but watching their breath. It is why martial artists synchronize every movement with breath. It is why great mystics describe breath as the bridge between life and death, form and formlessness, the known and the infinite. Because breath is not just survival, it is the language of the universe itself. Look at the cosmos. Everything moves in rhythms of expansion and contraction, the waves of the ocean, the pulse of a star, the inhaling and exhaling of the very fabric of existence. Your breath is not separate from this rhythm. It is a microcosm of it. And when you align yourself with it, when you truly become aware of your breath, you step into harmony with something far greater than yourself. This is why deep breathing is so powerful. It is not just about oxygen. It is about reconnecting to the cosmic flow. When you breathe deeply, you are syncing yourself with the pulse of creation, When you breathe shallowly, you are cutting yourself off from it. And this is why modern life, with its distractions, with its chronic stress, has disconnected people from their own power. But the moment you take back control, the moment you start breathing with awareness, depth, and intention, you begin to wake up. You stop being a prisoner of your thoughts. You stop being ruled by fear. You step into a reality where you are the master of your mind, your body, your existence. Because once you understand the power of breath, you don't just live, you transcend. Breath is not just a function of the body, it is the master key to the mind. Right now, most people believe their thoughts control their emotions and their emotions control their actions. But what if that isn't true? What if the real control center, the switch that determines how you think, feel, and act, was never your thoughts at all? What if it was your breath? Think about the last time you felt afraid. Your heart started pounding, your breath became short, your body tensed up. Your breath reacted before your mind could even process the danger. The same thing happens with stress, anger, sadness. Your breath shifts automatically, triggering physical and emotional responses before you even understand what's happening. But here's what most people don't realize. That process goes both ways. Just as emotions change breath, breath can change emotions. And the moment you understand this, you are no longer a slave to your thoughts. If you can control your breath, you can rewire your nervous system. You can break free from anxiety, dissolve stress in minutes, and create a state of calm and focus, no matter what is happening around you. This is why the great sages, the spiritual masters, the warriors of history all prioritized breath control before anything else. Because if you cannot control your breath, you cannot control your mind, and if you cannot control your mind, you are controlled by everything else. Ancient traditions knew this long before modern science confirmed it. In yoga, breath control is called pranayama, meaning the expansion of life force. The idea is simple. By controlling breath, you don't just calm the body, you expand consciousness itself. In Buddhist meditation, monks focus on breath to reach deep states of awareness. They believe that breath is the bridge between the ego and the eternal, the thread that leads beyond illusion into pure presence. In martial arts, breath is the foundation of strength. Fighters are trained to breathe in perfect rhythm, because the one who controls their breath controls the fight. A panicked breath leads to a weak body. A strong breath leads to an unshakable mind. And now science is proving that this isn't just philosophy. Neuroscientists have discovered that deep, controlled breathing slows down the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for fear and survival instincts. When you breathe slowly, you literally send a signal to your brain that says, "I am safe." This activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which shifts the body out of stress mode and into a state of healing, regeneration, and clarity. It's no coincidence that elite athletes, special forces soldiers, and monks all use the same breathing techniques. Because no matter how different their worlds may seem, they all understand the same truth. Breath is the control panel of human potential, and if you know how to use it, you can access abilities that most people will never experience. Right now, try something. Take a slow inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold your breath for 4 seconds. Exhale slowly for 6 seconds. Repeat. Do this just a few times and you will feel it immediately. A shift, a sense of calm spreading through your body, a quieting of thoughts, a space of clarity opening up. This is not just relaxation. This is rewiring the mind in real time. Most people spend their entire lives caught in cycles of reactivity. Something happens, they react. Another event happens, they react again. Always caught in the flow of external circumstances, never realizing they have a choice. But when you master breath, you no longer react. You become the observer. You gain the ability to step back, pause, and act from a place of awareness rather than impulse. And this is where true power begins, because in that space, between inhale and exhale, between reaction and response, you will find something that most people never notice. Choice. The ability to choose how you feel. The ability to choose how you interpret events. The ability to choose how you move through life, not as a victim of emotions, but as a creator of experience, and this changes everything. Imagine walking into a stressful situation and remaining completely calm while everyone else is panicking. Imagine being able to slow your heart rate and quiet your mind at will, even in the middle of chaos. Imagine accessing a deep well of focus and creativity simply by shifting your breath. These are not fantasies, these are real abilities that anyone can develop. But most people never do, because they never take control of their breath. They continue to breathe unconsciously, allowing their emotions to dictate their reality. But the moment you begin breathing with intention, with mastery, you step into a new world. A world where your thoughts no longer own you. A world where stress no longer controls you. A world where you are in command of your own mind, your own energy, your own existence. And once you understand this, you don't just live. Breath is the key to everything. Your mind, your emotions, your body, your energy. But what if it goes even deeper than that? What if breath is not just the key to life, but the key to transcending it? Throughout history, the greatest spiritual masters, yogis, and seekers all understood one thing. Those who control breath control time itself. This is not just a metaphor, this is not philosophy, this is biology. The length of your breath determines the length of your life. Look at nature. The longest living creatures, whales, tortoises, elephants, all have one thing in common. They breathe slowly. The creatures with the shortest lifespans, mice, birds, small mammals, breathe rapidly, erratically, constantly in a state of urgency. Science has confirmed what the ancients always knew. The slower and deeper you breathe, the longer you live. Because slow breath reduces stress, it lowers heart rate, it preserves cellular energy, it allows the body to enter deep states of healing and regeneration. This is why the great yogis of India practiced Kumbhaka breath retention techniques that allowed them to slow their breathing down to just a few breaths per minute. Some were said to have reached such mastery that they could enter deep states of hibernation, surviving for days or even weeks on a single breath. This is why the Taoist immortals of China focused on slow, circular breath, moving energy through their bodies with each inhale and exhale, creating longevity that defied aging. And now, modern science is catching up. Studies show that deep, controlled breathing increases telomerase activity, the enzyme responsible for slowing the aging of cells. Breathwork has been shown to reverse stress damage, improve brain function, and enhance oxygen efficiency, keeping the body younger for longer. But longevity is just the beginning, because once you master breath, you unlock more than just a longer life. You unlock a higher dimension of consciousness. This is where the real transformation begins, because breath is not just about health, it is about expanding awareness. And those who master it do not just live longer, they transcend the illusion of time altogether. In deep states of breath control, meditators report losing all sense of time and space. They describe entering a state where the boundaries between self and universe disappear. This is not imagination. This is the mind entering higher frequencies of perception. Because when the breath slows, the brain shifts into theta and gamma waves, the frequencies linked to profound intuition, deep meditation, and even mystical experiences. This is why the breath is called the bridge to the infinite, because when you master it, you step into something beyond yourself. Something beyond thought, beyond identity, beyond the limits of the physical world. And this is where the deepest truth is revealed. Breath is not just personal, it is universal. The ancient sages described the universe as one great inhale and exhale. Creation expands, exhale. Creation contracts, exhale. Galaxies are born and dissolve in endless cycles of breath. Stars burn, then collapse, then reform in the eternal rhythm of breathing. Everything that exists follows this pattern. The ocean tides, the beating of the heart, the rise and fall of civilizations. The entire cosmos is breathing, and your breath is not separate from it. It is part of the same rhythm, the inhale and exhale of the universe itself. This is why the most advanced spiritual teachings always return to breath, because breath is the link between the finite and the infinite. The body breathes for a few decades, but the soul breathes through eternity. And when you slow your breath, when you enter stillness, you begin to remember what you truly are. Not just a body, not just a mind, not just a name, an identity, a collection of thoughts and memories. You are the breath of existence itself. And when you know this, not just intellectually but deep within, you are no longer bound by illusion. You are free. This is why the great masters do not fear death, because they know that breath is just a doorway. That just as breath enters and leaves the body, so too does consciousness. And just as breath never truly disappears, neither do you. You were never the body, you were never the thoughts. You were the awareness watching it all happen. And that awareness, it is eternal. This is why the most advanced breathwork practices, like Kapalabhati, Brahmari, and Ulum Vilom, were designed not just for health, but for transcendence. Because when you master the breath, you dissolve the boundaries between self and cosmos. You become one with the rhythm of creation. And once you understand this, once you truly feel this in every inhale, every exhale, you do not just live, you transcend.